Hello and welcome to the BWOAH score for today's Brazilian Grand Prix 2017. Not the most exciting race, unfortunately, mostly thanks to a certain blessed one crashing out in qualifying, which meant that the race was fairly processional to say the least. So, starting off with the race winner, Sebastian Vettel, it's 10 points out of 10, the perfect, or the near perfect weekend. You had the perfect start, you beat Bottas into turn 1, and apart from the middle part of the race where Lewis Hamilton took the lead because he was on a different strategy, you were in total control. Second place was Valtteri Bottas, who I have to say only gets 8 out of 10. Yes, he did well to keep up with Vettel, but he's driving a Mercedes. He really should be doing so much better than this, and we have seen him do a lot better than this, of course, in Russia and Austria, where he led that race, and even though he faded rapidly in the later stages and had Vettel all over his tail end in the last few laps, you know, he's just... I just feel like he's just not really performing above the car's capability whatsoever. Kimi Raikkonen, third place, he also gets 8 points, of course. I would have given him a 7, to be honest, since it was... Well, he kept dropping off, and Verstappen was quite close to him, but because of, obviously, Verstappen has a Renault power unit, it meant he couldn't get anywhere near Raikkonen over the straights, but of course... Those last few laps, Kimi stood firm. Kimi today has earned a new nickname. From now on, when Kimi's under pressure and he holds off a rival with an OP power unit, I'm going to call him the Sponge Man. He's no longer the Ice Man, he's the Sponge Man. And of course in P4 is... Of course, the newly crowned 4-time world champion Lewis Hamilton, who will only get 7 points. I have to say, he gets, of course, his drive throughout. Well, let's face it, most of his overtakes were all thanks to his OP power unit and DRS. I mean, his overall drive was 9 out of 10. He kept banging in new fastest lap after fastest lap, and let's face it, he did do a good job, but I have to dock him 2 points for the fact he crashed in qualifying. That is quite... And let's face it, he should have won the race with the pace he had, but of course he crashed in qualifying, so that's his fault. Only 7 points, Lewis, not good enough. But in 5th place, of course, it's Max Verstappen. Yes, the man of the moment, Max Verstappen, who's been lauded for his amazing performances in Malaysia and Mexico, has come back down to earth with a bang with what was a very poor performance, to say the least. The whole race he was struggling with tyres in the hot conditions, whinging and complaining, oh, I can't cope, oh, I need a pit stop, and of course he decided to pit about 8 laps from the end, and you know, he managed to send he broke the lap record in doing so, saying in 1 minute 11.044. Have you realised that yet? But last year he was claiming all the plaudits for his amazing performance in the torrential downpour last year, where you know, he had that amazing save under pressure. He overtook Nico Rosberg, the man who ended up becoming world champion, and well, I have to say, this year's performance has been a complete shadow of last year. Just really poor. And to be honest, I was expecting him to get all over the back of Kimi Raikkonen, but he didn't even come close. He just dropped off, and you know, everyone has been talking about, oh, Max could be a 2018 championship contender. Well, with that performance, I wouldn't put my money on it. Daniel Ricciardo finished 6th. He gets 8 out of 10. Yes, I know. Okay, he didn't slice through the field as quickly as Lewis Hamilton did, but of course you have to realise that Renault power unit is pretty... It was giving about half a second away to the Mercedes and the Ferrari 2017 power units. You know, so, and I have to say, considering he had so much less down, at least 10k less straight line speed than Lewis Hamilton with the DRS, his overtakes were absolutely spot on, and it had to be because, quite frankly, you can't just rely on the straight line speed. It not only has to, he literally has to prepare his car put his car into the right, correct position so that he can overtake the car in front without losing too much time and without flat spotting his tyres like one driver did, as I will talk about much later on. So that's 8 points for Daniel Ricciardo. And of course, in 7th place, it is of course the man who is retiring for a 2nd year in a row, Felipe Massa. The scenes at the end of the race were just incredibly emotional. Just his son came on the radio. You can tell that kid is being raised up correctly. And if his son ever reaches Formula 1, I will probably support his kid. What a send-off. And I have to give Felipe Massa 9 points because, let's face it, he held off. Williams have been struggling all year with their car, and I have to say, he really did pull one out of the bag today. And especially when you consider the fact that the guy he managed to keep behind him happened to be his former Ferrari teammate Fernando Alonso, who himself did a marvellous job of getting that extremely underpowered McLaren Honda into 8th place. Just imagine what Fernando Alonso is going to be like with a Renault engine next year. It's going to be crazy. I've got to give Fernando Alonso 9 points because, when Ricciardo and Hamilton came through, he just let them pass. He wasn't going to sit there and waste too much time fighting them when his real fight was with Massa. But having said that, though, that McLaren Honda package is a complete load of garbage, if we're going to be honest. So, of course, behind him, the last man on the lead lap was Sergio Perez. I've got to give Perez a 7, considering, how good Perez has been this year. Really average, just 7 points. And then, of course, the last point scorer and the first of the lap cars, Hulkenberg, going to get 7, because let's face it, well, he's doing about as much as a car can do, but he's not doing any more, so that's it. And another 7 points for Sainz, first of the non-point scorers. Just really not much to talk about there. Another 7 points were called for Pierre Gasly for Toro Rosso, and 7 points for Marcus Ericsson, who has been looking a lot better recently after a few dodgy performances where he crashed out in Japan and Singapore. Behind him it was, of course, teammate Pascal Wehrlein, who only gets 6 points because, Pascal Wehrlein is going to be out of his seat apparently, I think, for next season, and he's not really doing his future F1 prospects any good. It looks like he will be heading back to the German touring car series, the DTM, next season in 2018, because it doesn't look like, well, to be honest, I'm kind of disappointed by Wehrlein. He just doesn't seem to be doing an awful lot right now. Then, of course, there were, the 2 Muppets who finished 2 laps down. Yes, Romain Grosjean, once again, for the 2nd race in a row, had a race from hell. At the start of the race, he got a bit too close to Esteban Ocon. Yes, you could say it was a racing incident, but he got a 10-second time penalty, which he only got told about before his first pit stop, which, of course, surprise, surprise, he went into another angry whinge about it. It's the same story. So it's only going to be 3 points for Romain Grosjean. Just garbage, just absolute garbage. Everybody, I keep hearing, he said things about, I would do a better job than Kimi in that Ferrari. If it wasn't for Kurz, I would have destroyed him at Lotus. Yeah, go away. I can't stand you. And of course, the man who finished 16th and last was Lance Stroll. Oh my goodness, you should go back to Formula 2. There we have Felipe Massa, who drags that awful Williams into 7th place. He's apparently going to be retiring. Why is he? Well, if you're going to be performing this badly, I know last weekend you did a brilliant job finishing 5th and Massa finishing 11th, but this weekend you were absolutely terrible. My goodness, I mean, apparently he kept locking the brakes up through all, like, half the corners every other lap, and then, of course, a few laps from the end, then you locked up so hard, and apparently a chunk of your front left tyre suddenly came sticking up, and it almost looked like a puncture, but, well, was it? I'm not sure, but I think he went to the pits after that, so, you know, it was either a flat spot that was so bad that it flicked up a chunk of rubber that stuck out, or you actually did punch your tyre. I'm not sure, but my goodness. Oh God, you should be in Formula 2. Yes, I know Lance Stroll's had some very good performances throughout this season, but really too many rookie mistakes. I mean, it's almost like the Australian Grand Prix all over again. It's like, it's not good enough, Lance. And then, of course, yes, the four retirees: Brendan Hartley, Esteban Ocon, Kevin Magnussen, Stoffel Van Dorn. Of course, they all retired through really mostly no fault of their own, or through incidents you could say were racing incidents for Magnussen and Van Dorn, just not really their fault. It's just one of those things, so I'm not going to give them any points which will not go. Of course, those scores will not be counted in end of season averages. So, if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and I will see you again next time.